Hello everyone, this is Johannes and you are watching Board Gaming Ramblings, and today we are taking a look at Wingspan, a game that was been so hyped now before coming out. There's been some pre-orders, they have arrived, and the retail is going to be in March, I know, but I just had to speak about this game right away because I was so hyped to get this small engine building, easy to play game. There were a couple of things I was afraid of, like the things I didn't like in Terraforming Mars. I love Terraforming Mars, but the things I don't like is the sometimes massive unluckiness of drawing the cards and drafting the cards and ending up being a worse position because of the card drafting. Also, this was compared to Gizmos, which I thought was an okay game, but after playing it 3-4 times, I didn't really have the need to play it again. So could the bird cards, the 170 different bird cards, the engine building fun of a different theme, could that drag me in to make this game a winner for me? That's what this video is all about, telling you guys what I think about Wingspan. But first, we're gonna do a super brief explanation of the rules, so let's get to that. In Wingspan, we are trying to be the bird reservate with the most exciting birds. The goal of the game is to attract birds and use their abilities to try to score points in different exciting and cool ways. The game is super simple rules wise, so we're just briefly gonna go through the different actions you can take. Most of the things that are interesting in this game come from the different bird cards, and we're not gonna go into detail about what the different bird cards do. There are 4 actions in the game that you can choose from, so let's start with the first one. The first thing you can do is to play a bird. To play a bird, you're going to place a bird in the first row that is free in the reservoir where you want to place it. So let's look at this bird, for example. This bird can only be placed in this field. So I'm going to take it, I'm going to place it here, and before I have to do that, I have to pay its food cost. So some of them have different food costs up in the corner, which I have to pay to place the bird. Depending on what kind of bird you play, some of them have actions that happen when you play the cards, and if they do, you will do that now. When you want to place a bird on some of the other locations here, like when you want to place the second and the third and so on, you have to also pay eggs like this, and I'm going to explain where you get those from soon. The second action you can do is to gain food from this amazing cool bird feeder. This die store is here, and I can choose 1 die to take that resource, like this. The more birds I have in this line, the better that action becomes. After I've done an action, even if it's this, this or this, then I'm going to be able to activate all birds in that row, which has a brown thing. I don't remember a brown ability, a when activated ability. And that is that action. Here you can lay eggs, which you have to put on the birds. They have to be able to hold the egg. Depending on the bird, it has a different number of eggs it can hold. And the last action here is that you can draw more bird cards, either from these or from the face down deck. You're going to continue doing that, and after you've used all your action cubes, the round is over. At the end of the round, you're going to score an end of game or end of round scoring thing, and after that, you're going to play 3 more rounds, and at the end of that, the player with the most points is the winner. There are more things to this game, but this is kind of like a brief overview, just to give you a feel of how the game works, to see how simple the different actions are. So let's get up to the table and see what I think about this game. Is it good? Let's find out. As always, let's start out with the artwork and components, and this game is amazing. Like, if you played a Stonemeier game before, you know that the production value is through the roof, and this is no exception. Like, everything looks so beautiful, from this amazing player board that looks like kind of a menu or some kind of bird book. Every time I set up this game, I just put them out there for the players like this, and they could open them and see the beautiful board for themselves. This is a great player board. It looks so good. You can see the different areas here with the different types, the forest, the field and the water. It just looks amazing. This is normal cardstock, nothing special to say here. They added in this cool game trace, I think it's game trace, this cool card tray. If it's not game trace, it's still awesome. This card tray, which you can use both to keep the cards in, they're falling out now, and as a card holder for the 3 cards you can choose during the game. It's just fantastic. And then we have this thing, the most useless thing ever, a dice tower for people who can't throw dice themselves. But this is genius. It makes the game pop out because the birds are really beautiful. We're going to come to that in a minute. And the player boards are good, but there's not huge table presence for this game. But this changes that. That's a genius inclusion of the people who made this game. Because this makes it feel like a bird game. You're going to take this really great chunky wooden dice, throw them in there, and they roll out. This is even cool, like most dice towers, you put them on the top. You can't do that here, because it would just fall off. It wouldn't make sense, but here you just throw it in and it comes out. It's a great dice tower that adds to the flavor of the game. Like, you know, like, I love games that looks beautiful, and this is just so well made. Like, the only thing, if I can say one thing, that is a negative, and that's not a negative, it's just like everything is so good. And then you have this thin paper, which is the end of game goal. It's a good quality paper, but it kind of feels out of place with all these beautiful, amazing components. It looks good, it's still gorgeous art, I love it. And then we have these eggs. I know this is going to take a while to go through these components because they are so good, so I just want to highlight them. These eggs are so I just want to eat them. I can't because they will destroy my teeth and that would be horrible. But this looks great. The only thing, this is such a minor thing, the only thing is that these are different colored and it doesn't matter what color they are when you put them on eggs. I am hoping, because they do a lot of expansions with Stonemeier Games, I'm hoping that they have a plan for these different colored eggs. I don't know if they have, I don't know if they're just going to be different eggs all the time, but I have a hope that these eggs are going to end up being something other than just being eggs of different colors, so that you can use them for different things, maybe depending on the color. That's something I hope for. Then we have the cards. The cards might look a little bland. Like, I think they look great. I love the bird illustration. 170 different illustrations of birds. So many birds you haven't heard of before. So great. We're gonna come back to that. Like, so much cool stuff. And one thing that is so unnecessary, but just adds to how good the component quality and the production value of this game is this rulebook. Like, if you touch this rulebook and you don't know about it, you're gonna be like, what is this? Because this isn't paper, it's like parchment or something. It's so good quality. I think like I could almost like it's almost non-tearable. I'm not gonna try to tear it, but it's like it's really durable and so. This is a strange review because I'm spending 5 minutes talking about rulebooks. Let's talk about the game, because gameplay is where it's all at. It doesn't matter that this game is so beautiful if it's not good. Before we go through, is it good? Let's go through all these different things that we used to do. In the review, let's start with ease of play. Super simple. Just like super quick rules, 10-minute tops. If you teach it to somebody who's never played games before, of course, it's going to take a bit longer. But to teach this to somebody who knows games, 10 minutes, you're through the actions, through the different variables, through the gold cards, and you're ready to go. Ease of play is a super light game. Super simple rules-wise. The most interesting here is the gameplay, which adds a bit to the complexity, but not too much. It's a simple, nice game. Playtime has been around an hour or so, 40 minutes 2-player, an hour with 3. And I think that's a great spot. Like the first time we played with 3 players, with 2 players who hadn't played, one of them hadn't really played a lot of board games. It took us maybe an hour and 30 minutes or something with the playing, but we played it again right afterwards and it took us only an hour and 5 minutes. So the first time might take a little bit longer, but it's a pretty decent amount of time. Then we come to player count, which is important for this because I think this is a great game for 2 players and 3 players. I almost said what I thought about the game for those kind of player counts. But the game is great at 2 and 3 players. I haven't played with 4 and 5, but I don't think I would ever want to play with 4 and 5 because this is an amazing game that you can play. I said it now. It's an amazing game. Okay, let's just get it out of the way. This game is superbly awesome. This game is through the roof. I'm going to come back to that soon. I'm just so excited. I'm so excited I just can't hide it. You know, that's the song. So, player count, this goes to 5 players. I would never play this with 5. There is some interesting enough player interaction, but it's minor. It's a multiplayer solitaire game for the most time. So if you don't like that, you're not gonna like this game. There's no main board. It's like the only thing that you interact with are choosing the birds that are face up, which is a small thing, and then they are the end of round goals, which is a bigger thing, which is more interesting with 3 players than with 2, because with 2 players if I just have one of them, I will get the second the most points. So 3 players, I think, is the best player count. I would never end up playing it not with 2 if I could play it with 2, but 3 player is even better, that you have that interaction of the end of game or end of round goals. 4 and 5 I don't think would add much to me. If you don't mind your game being long, if you don't mind more downtime, then by all means play with 4 and 5. I just think I would rather play something else with less downtime and more interaction maybe if I play with 4 and 5 players. I haven't tried it yet, so I might be wrong, but that's my expectations of how I will feel. Replayability is pretty high on this one. You have the 4 end of round goals, which are going to, you have 8 of those pieces with 2 sides, that's 16. That's going to be different and different order of them if you get the same ones. You have 170 different cards. You have a bunch of bonus cards which will add will change how you play the game. You can do so much different stuff about playing in the different areas here. That's upside down. The different areas, playing in the different areas depending on how kind of strategy you get. I was a bit unsure if there was enough. Like, after I played it sometimes, I feel like, okay, it's always best to do this. I think there might be something that's always better to do in the beginning, like getting a couple of cheap birds and getting those out to make the main actions better, because you're going to have to take resources, you're going to have to draw cards, you're going to have to sometimes make eggs. I think the most, for me, it feels like that. I would love to see something else. I think the most powerful thing is to either get 2 cards in resources or 2 cards in cards, or 1 in one of them, both of them at the beginning of the game. And I think that if you end up getting only cards with high resource numbers in the beginning, that might be destroying it a bit, but I think there's enough things that will make it interesting anyways. Even though you maybe solve the beginning of the game, it's going to change depending on all the other factors. So that is the replayability. So let's talk about what I think about this game. This game, as I've already said, this game is great. This game is so much fun. This game, I've played it now 6 times in 4 days. No other game, like maybe Architects of the West Kingdom is the only one I wanted to play that many times in so fast. Because one thing that's great with this game, it's quick. It's super quick. You can play it, as I said, like in 40 minutes with a 2-player game, 40-50 minutes, or 60-70 minutes playtime with 3 players. And it's just pure fun in that time amount. I think if it's been like a 2-hour game, I think it would start being boring for me, because it doesn't give me that much. But it's one of those games that I just want to play again after playing it. After playing my 5th game in 3 days, I was kind of like, do I need to play it again tomorrow, because I just played it twice back to back? But then the next day I wanted to play again. So this is one of those games that I just want to play and play and play. This is a game I am 100% sure I'm going to play more, even after doing a review. Most games, after we review them, we don't really have time to play them again. So they go on the shelf, and then maybe in a year, maybe in half a year, we take it out if we really, really love it. This is a fun game. So let's talk about some of the things I was unsure about, because this is a card where this is a game, not a card. It's a card. This is a card. This is a game where you draw a lot of cards, and it's a game where there is luck involved. I have a pretty low threshold for luck. I don't like a lot of luck in my games, depending on the game, of course. But in this game, even if you feel like, oh yeah, you got the better cards, so you then won, and you won because of that, I wouldn't really like the game too much. The thing that makes this game work in that way is because there's only 3 different places you can place your card. Of course, you might get like 2 cool cards that will go perfectly here and make a great combo of activations, but maybe you won't. But the most important thing is to be able to put cards out here and actually make the engine of getting better actions. And that is so easy to do. Many of the cards can go in all 3, and lots of the cards can go in 2. Like, most of the cards really can go in 2 different habitats. Like, maybe, I don't know the percentages, but that is like, that's so easy to get cards that can go where you want them. And maybe they do something that's not so beneficial for you, or maybe they do something that's greatly beneficial for you. But I don't feel like, I haven't played with all the cards, I haven't seen all the cards. I don't feel like there's any cards that are like super powerful and some cards that are not. I feel like the power level of the cards are pretty much equal. Some cards will feel better there and then for me, but I feel like most of the cards are really equal, and that means that it doesn't matter so much if I get that card or that card, as long as I can play it in that row that I need to play it. And that really takes away everything I have problems with in games that add this kind of luck with drawing cards and getting the engine going depending on the cards you get. This just solves that in such a beautiful way, and I love it for that. I really love it for that, because that was the one thing I was afraid of I wouldn't like. I love it's kind of engine buildings. I feel I get so much out of this game in the playtime. One thing I need to talk about, which is just so amazing, is something they've done in this game which I haven't seen anywhere. In the beginning of the game and also later, you're going to draw these mission cards. In most games, you're going to look at a mission card. First time you play, second time you play, you're going to be like, I have no idea how hard it is to do this card. Especially in a game like this with 170 different cards with so many different kind of attributes, you're not going to remember what are they. So what they've done in this game is at the bottom of the card, they have a percentage of the birds in the deck that will help you solve this card, and I just love that. That's just a tiny little thing that makes this game so good. Like, it's strange to say, but the number on this card makes this game a lot better, because you get that you can look at these cards, you're like, okay, but I have in my start hand, I have 2 of this, so even if they're hard to get by, I will at least get some points. Or maybe you say like, oh, hey, these 2 gold card I have now really doesn't work with what I have, but I can take this because it has a high percentage of helping me out, and I can look at the cards that are out in the beginning of the game, and it's just so great. The most important thing about this game is that it's fun. All the players I play with have had so much fun. I played with a player I've never played with before. I think he played a couple of board games before this, and like halfway through the game I was like, oh, this is so great. Where can I buy this game? And I was just happy inside when he said that, because not only was it the first time he was here playing games, but that I could show him a game that gave him so much joy that we played it twice back to back, and he had to go out and buy the game when it hits retail in March. And wow, I love this game. I love the card play, I love the card, planning on where I want to play the different cards, planning on, do I want to go for a heavy egg strategy, do I want to do this, do I want to do that. It's just great. One thing I am unsure about, I don't know if I can find out like this is gonna be always the best, but at the end of the game, when I have a lot of cards out, I usually have like 3 cards in each row, and even more, maybe a bit skewed like this, but when you have 3 or even 4 cards in the egg row, you're gonna give 4 eggs every time you do that action, and an egg is worth a point at the end of the game. That means that every action I can take in the last round, let's say I play the 4th card, and the next 4 actions I do in the last round is taking 4 points each. That is 16 points. That's a pretty high percentage of points in a game where you score maybe 80, 90. I scored 100 points in one game. And even then, if you have like some engine there that actually does some extra things, giving you eggs, giving you tucking abilities, that will score you maybe between 4 and 7 points for every action. It's going to be hard to do other things if you haven't built up something great for the last round that will give you more points. And I'm a bit afraid that that is like a huge strategy to go out in the last round to do mostly gathering of eggs or laying eggs. And I think I've played it 6 times now. I have won every time I played. And you might think like, oh, that's why you like it. I love games I don't win because either I wouldn't have liked many games. But this game just clicked in my brain. I won every time I played. And actually, I've done that almost every single time. I think I've done it 5 or 6 times. 5 of 6 times I played it, doing the laying eggs and getting so many eggs at the end. One game I had 27 eggs on them. That's 27 points. So if you also have some points on the cards, like great amount of points, it's hard to beat that. And I'm afraid that it's kind of like a huge strategy. If you play this game and you feel like, no, it's a better strategy than that, or it might depend on what you're doing, or sometimes you don't have any cards in the bird round, that, of course, if you end up doing a strategy with no egg power, in the middle, the middle, egg. I'm not so good at this English language, and then you might do something different, but I'm afraid that might be like a powerful strategy. It might be hard to go over. So I would love if somebody can say like, oh, but you can do this strategy and do something that. So that's kind of one of my points of negativity towards this game. But other than that, this game is just pure fun. It's light enough to get into. You can play it back to back if you want to. It's quick enough for that. It's great. I don't think I have much more to say. Like, I said my positives, I said a negative. I'm trying to find something more negative. I've had it in my brain. I don't think I had. That's like the one thing I can see. Yeah, it's basically that thing I'm a bit afraid of, that there are some beginning strategies and some end strategies that will be better all the time. They're non-relevant to what you have in your hand and what is on the end game scoring. But other than that, this is a great game. I'm gonna rate it now. It's gonna be an 8.5 from me. It's just a fantastic game that I hope to play much more in 2019. And that's the end of the review. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for enjoying our videos. More content are coming soon, including a playthrough of Wingspan that is hopefully coming in the beginning of next week if everything goes as planned. A playthrough of two-player playthrough of Wingspan. So, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so already. Much more content are coming up. And that's it. I'm Johannes. You've been watching Board Gaming Ramblings, and bye-bye.